So welcome everybody to our August 8th board meeting. Oh geez, September board meeting. I'm looking at the minutes. September 5th board meeting. Had a long day already. Sorry everybody. Not going back in time. September 5th board meeting of the Police Accountability Board. Thank everybody watching and in person. We'll start off with introductions.
Good evening, everyone. I am Leslie Myers-Small and the Executive Director.
Hello, I'm the newest board member, Luam Teklaab, and I am the East District Council seat.
Great evening. Thank you all for joining us. I'm Arlene Brown, and I am an Alliance appointee.
I'm Rabbi Gura Settle, and I hold the Northwest Council seat on the board and serve as vice chair.
Larry Knox, East Council seat and board chair.
Bill Clark, mayor's appointee.
Yvonne Wilson is a council seat appointee.
Daniel Cadet Senior, Alliance appointee.
Bill E. Weinbach, I'm appointed by the Alliance.
No problem. Well, good news, everybody. We have a full board finally. Reverend G. Patterson isn't here. He's out of town, but he is appointed to a seat that, and with our newest board member, I'm going to give a minute to give a little bit of introduction if you'd like. While I'm joining us, we finally have all 9 board seats filled, which has been way too long in waiting. Really happy to have a full board, and the community deserves a full board. So I'd like to thank council for finally approving our last seat. And Luam, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about
Yes,
yourself.
I'm a Rochester native, stepped out of Rochester for a few years in Nashville, and I figured it's time to get back home. It was a pleasure going through the approval process. I got a chance to learn a lot about the PAB, and I'm so excited to be here and help continue the work.
Great. You did a little work in Nashville with the accountability board there.
Yes, I did some volunteer work with that and establishing it and, doing the grassroots organizing, collecting signatures. So I'm very familiar with the accountability board. I'm so excited to be a part of one in my hometown.
Yay.
Welcome aboard.
I want to ask you what the interpreters are. How is your name?
Yes, it's Luam Teklaab.
LeBron.
All right, we'll go to approval of the meeting minutes. We're emailed out from the August 8th meeting.
I'll move.
Second.
All right, all in favor of approving the minutes? All of it was unanimous approval of the minutes. Thank you, everybody. Those will be posted online shortly for anybody that's interested in reading the minutes. Thank you again, Victoria, for the work on our minutes. Our staff report.
Good evening, everyone. I certainly, too, would like to begin by officially welcoming Luam to the board. Very, very excited to work with you and to co-labor with you in this really important work. For the public and for the board, Luam and I are meeting tomorrow afternoon, and we'll be providing her our PAB manual, which has things like bylaws, the charter, some of our standing operating procedures, which we'll talk about tonight, et cetera. And it's just a chance, similarly to when I met with each of you one-on-one, just to get to know each other and to establish that rapport moving forward. So welcome. As of today, believe it or not, it's been 11 weeks that I've been on the job. And yeah, 11 weeks, yes. And so I continue to deepen certainly my understanding of the organization, its heartbeat, the nuts and bolts and how we operate. And I really have been enjoying the work. It's certainly challenging work, but it's really fulfilling work. And I am so grateful to have this opportunity. So I would just like to just briefly go over some updates with the board. I don't have all of the divisions. Some of our folks are out. But I want to give you some critical updates. So in investigations and then continues to be a trooper and to serve as both Deputy Executive Director / General Counsel / overseer of the investigation. So I want to thank him publicly as well. But this is what's going on in investigations, and they're really the doing yeoman's work. Yo person's work. I want to be politically correct. So our goal is to publish 30 PAB reports on our website next week, alongside a revamped what is misconduct explainer. And I know that Victoria needs to get a mutually agreeable date with each of you to have that presentation to the board around the what is misconduct. Investigative rules will be shared with the board for review this month and are scheduled for a vote for October's meeting. So you have a chance to look at it and then vote on it the next month. Also, the investigations department collaborated with expert attorneys to revise several investigative procedures with significant contributions from the investigative team. This effort aligns with our goal to tighten and standardize SOPs, or standard operating procedures, across the agency. And I'd like to, again, publicly give them a shout out for all of the hard work. Some of our board attended our recent work session on August 29th with City Council, and we did receive notable pushback from Corporation Counsel regarding access and transparency. However, 6 council members expressed support for PAB's mission and the removal of these barriers. And I'll go into a little bit more during the section from my report. In case management, in August, we received 20 cases. 7 came through the PAB hotline. 8 were online submissions. 3 were walk-ins. 1 was transferred from PSS, and we received 1 via mail, USPS. Busy month, just taking, and you know, it's so fascinating when you go in that section of our agency, and I really appreciate the care and the time and attention that our case managers take when they're on the phone taking in the complaints. You can only imagine some people are distraught, they're angry, they're frustrated, and they deal with all of those emotions and more, and they do it very professionally and expertly. So I want to thank Dolores and the rest of the case management team. A few updates from me. We've been talking a lot about standing operating procedures. And so we've completed 5, which they take a lot of work at times because you need to look at what's going on, what maybe gaps exist, what you need to address. And as you know, standing operating procedures are important because they provide clarity, uniformity, and it helps to reduce ambiguity in an organization, so that one person interprets that we do something one way and articulates that, and another person does that differently. This really provides consistency. So we had conversations with the staff that these are coming, and we have several more that will be finalized by tomorrow. And one that we didn't have that was important, and I'll ask you to take one and then pass it to your right, standing operating procedures for onboarding a new board member, right? So we can have some consistency there. So what you'll see is the standard operating procedure, as well as 2 appendices. One is a checklist. You'll take one and pass it just to make sure that we have dotted all our I's and crossed all our T's of what's contained in the SOP, that we actually did what we said we were endeavoring to do. And then the second appendix is an evaluation. So in this case, we'll fill it out in a few months to just give us some feedback. Does the SOP make sense? Does it work? Did it cover all of your needs? And did it respond to what you need to be a successful and productive board member? So I wanted you just to see, that's just an example of the work that we're doing. And we're moving at a good pace. We have SOPs that will be created for each division. And as I mentioned earlier, for example, in investigations, they've created a manual with different procedures within it. So we'll just have an overarching standard operating procedure, and that manual will be a big appendix. But this is a way just to make sure that we are operating certainly from a place of consistency and integrity within the organization, the agency. Any questions? Or, yes,
More of a comment. I appreciate you like thoroughly putting this together. Like, I wish this was around when I started as a member. So like, and I'm looking through it, very it gives a lot of context to folks who are brand new to this role. So it kind of, and I see something about mentorship, assigned mentor.
yeah, I thought that it would just be helpful for like a buddy system for a new board member to have somebody that they can just have like a phone a friend, right? And say, hey, I need some help, or I'm a little confused. It doesn't necessarily have to be official, but really somebody who's going to consistently assist and work with the new board member.
I know I missed some information because I was looking when the papers were handed out. Are we supposed to fill these out, or are they just for information purposes?
Just for information, but the checklist, I will be responsible for making sure that we fulfill everything in the standard operating procedure. And then in this case, Luam, who is the newest board member, will complete the evaluation, right? Questions? Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It's a suggestion and a motion.
Okay.
All right. Because we didn't go through this,
Mm-hmm.
the last board members. So my suggestion is that we go through it, because, so we can get the right understanding of the standards and all that. I suggested it a long time ago. I
Okay.
thank you for doing it. So we all need to be on one accord, not just Luan.
Luam.
But I already explained what I'm talking about. Anyway, point being is, it's a good idea, it's excellent, but we still all need to be able to do that. Going back at least for a year.
I was gonna ask, going back how far?
I started about a year and so ago, and I never got that. About a year ago, Keith, Daniel, correct? 2 years. So we need that also. Very much so.
Yeah, I would, I want to have the board be able to review this before it's official. Just-
Absolutely, yeah,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is, that's why it says draft.
Yeah.
Not official, but I thought it was important to just talk about the key things. I'll start some of the initial things, like with the pre-onboarding and the meeting with me and taking her around, but yeah, this is not finished.
So say, I mean, I see these are some of the things that we talked about, I think, after you started of things. I know there's some stuff in our, and I'm assuming some of these are things that we had in our individual conversations with you. I see stuff
Yes.
reflected in there.
Yes,
But just, this because has to do with the board. Everyone wants to give the chance to
Absolutely.
sit and read,
yes.
make suggestions.
Mhm.
So I would add that in the same way that you would not create SOPs for division without having a member of the division part of that process,
Mhm.
I'm somewhat disappointed that board members are receiving this in a sense pathetically.
It's not, that's why it's draft.
But even so, that it's already drafted without our being part of the process of creating it.
But you were, as I took in your feedback, and that was incorporated in
Representative
it.
Schwartz, thank you for that.
Okay, we
I'll
might
respect it.
disagree about some
Okay.
process things about that. So,
We can,
which is fine. I mean, that's,
sure.
we learn by doing. It's not,
Mhm.
I understand that. Anyway, I'm just expressing, a concern that I have, and I feel that, and this is not about you personally in any way, your communication has been fabulous. But I do think that, some of the issues about the relationship between board, the authority of the board, and the governance structure, this is an example, I think we need some further clarification in the way that we do it in a variety of places.
That's fine, and I'm very open to talking through. I tried to be very explicit, still draft, not
Right.
finalized.
Right.
Handed it out here, I thought that would be the most appropriate time to do it, but it is not a fait accompli, not at all. But I respect your concern in your reaction
But
to.
also, to be honest, when I was having a conversation, because in no way having a conversation about what's needed in an SLP, we were having a much more general conversation about experiences on the board and with the organization, all that kind of stuff. To me, in a way, that would be a different conversation if I were having a review about that, about developing this.
That's fair. Respect it,
Yeah.
yes.
When would you like the board to get back to you?
I would love to have everything by Friday the 13th. That would be great. Okay. So the city council work session update. So those are great opportunities, obviously, to have conversations with President Melendez and those city council members who are able to attend. Corporation Council is there, some of their staff are there. And we also have our council, TN Brown, which is very helpful. I met with President Melendez earlier this week and we're making some progress, but there still continues to be that rub and that tension around access, transparency, what public records are. And so one of the things that was suggested was that we do, a work session. And there is a timestamp on that the work session needs to be completed by September 30th, 2024. And so Ben and I are going to represent the PAB agency, but we wanted to also ask if a board member would like to participate. There needs to be a little bit of flexibility because we've already finished a week in September, so I didn't know if who would be available or interested. But there'll be some tight scheduling and we'll have to try and be flexible with our schedules to make it all work with everyone. But I don't know how you'd like to handle that as far as,
I'll talk with the board.
Yeah.
I want to have more than one board member. I think we don't need all to be there, but I think it's good with different perspectives to have more than one board member there. But I'll talk with the board, and if we can get some different times, that might help figure out who's available.
I think they're gonna probably send like a doodle poll or something
Okay.
like that to say, and whatever has like the highest number of yeses or availabilities, what they'll go with.
Okay, I'll talk with.
I think there was a message before that for board members to attend the work sessions. You weren't supposed to talk, just observe. So what is the role of the board member who attends?
I would say that's not, we're always able to talk at these work sessions. I did give a message out at the last work session, this previous work session that wasn't able to attend. The staff didn't have enough time to get through the whole presentation. So I just wanted to be cognizant of making sure we gave them enough time to get through the presentation before we got into a lot of questions, which didn't happen at the last work session.
I'm sorry, how did we end this? You're going to,
I'll talk with the board to see who's interested.
okay,
And then we do the poll the folks that are interested in.
okay, great,
We
okay.
do need the time frame so that we know whether or not we're available to participate, if that's possible.
But that's what the doodle poll is. They send you a link and say, when are you available? You say, I'm free on these particular days, and then whoever, there's 8 out of 10, then they're gonna go with the 8 who are available. They won't say we have 2 to 3 available on September 12th, so on and so forth.
Okay, I guess what I'm trying to say is, we're gonna be given day sessions or evening sessions. That's the point I'm trying to make. I know the doodle comes out and we put out when we're available, right? So the consensus is gonna be whenever we are available, that's when it's gonna happen. That's the question.
No, they're gonna send out a doodle poll that says when they're available. Basically, they're gonna give you options for when Corporation Council and President Melendez and some other people who are key people are available.
So it's not
And
our
then-
availability. it's
and
whether or
then-
not we can
Well, they'll
confirm
give
it.
some choices, and then we'll see
Yeah.
who's available
Okay.
when they're
That's the
available.
question that I was trying to ask.
So once that the decision is made, that they'll send the link out and just whomever the board members are that, can respond quickly so they can schedule. Additionally, I have just a NACO update. I know, I sent you a little bit of information, but, Anthony Fennell, who's the president of NACO, reached out to Ben relative to the last article that he was in. They had a really good discussion and he asked if he could have a conversation with me. We had a great conversation. He is very, very supportive, and letting me know if there's anything that you need, let us know how we can help you. NACOL has been very helpful, and for the public, NACOL stands for the National Association of Civilian Oversight of Law Enforcement, just to make sure, because we get sometimes caught up in jargon. So they have a huge training component in the board. Our PAB board gets trained by NACOL, but they're going to do some training for the staff, so on things like trauma-informed care and work, since some of our staff view the body cams or talk with individuals about traumatic things, so we're going to get some support there. There are other things that the charter outlines that are mandated for professional development, so we'll have some trainings there. So they're just super supportive. And they're very excited to certainly meet with the staff and the board who will be attending the conference in October. And they said that they would certainly welcome us with open arms. So very excited about that and looking forward to that. And that, I think, is all I have. Was there something else?
No, it's not on the agenda. This would be for policy. This is the genre.
Oh, okay, thank you. So, the cost of misconduct, it's going to be released on September 9th, and it's going to be posted on the website. The public comment period lasts 30 days, as you know, and individuals can call, they can go online, or attend public input sessions, which will be advertised starting next week. We do have our first one on September 12th, and that is at the Public Safety Committee meeting, which is the only committee of City Council that has all of the council members on it. So that will be occurring at 4:30 p.m. on 9/12, which is a Thursday. In person,
Next day.
a week from today.
Yeah.
And I believe that concludes my report. Okay.
Oh, I did have a question.
Yes.
The language access coordinator, webmaster positions, I know there were offers we made over the last month.
Oh, yes. Thank you for that. Yes, our language access coordinator was here today. She started last Friday. I think she thought that the ice cream social we had was for her, which was nice to celebrate. No, I'm just joking. But she's been in, and she's been in all this week, and she's getting acclimated. We're getting all of her technology and things set up. And she needs some equipment, right, because of the role that she serves. And then the part-time webmaster will be starting within the next few weeks.
They sent an offer though.
Yes, yes. Mhm.
Right. And I do, before I mention I appreciate communication, I really want to say how much I do appreciate that we hear from you at least twice a week with really good summaries of sort of what's happening in the agency and issues and all that kind of stuff. And I just really want to say thank you.
Great. Yeah, I did thank you for saying that. Do those Friday updates. I try to keep them brief.
Yes.
So it's just the most key things that are happening, but just organizationally, things that we're working on when we're out in the community. So
And the Monday.
the Monday morning message,
Yeah.
let's try and get staff going and hopefully focused on something inspirational and positive.
Well appreciated for what you do.
I'm sorry. I just want to know the definition of a language, what you said. What do they do? What's the responsibility?
Language access coordinator.
Oh, okay. That is a couple of things. Certainly, to help when you have an individual who's deaf, right? And so there's a phone that IT is going to be installing. So, we serve all aspects of the community. So to make sure that that's not a barrier for an individual to call in or to make a report. So she works through all of those issues, will help with some translations, things of that nature.
Okay, that's good.
It is good.
How about for the director of investigation position?
Not yet. Does it close?
I don't have it in front of me. I don't know.
It's not that soon? Okay, but not yet.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Dr. Myers.
Thank you.
All right, so I will get into the chair's report. I wanted to talk to the landlord about our lights going on and out.
Yeah.
but- That's another issue for another day, but
So trouble.
yeah, a little wonky. I guess for the chair's report, I'm really happy to, there's some media coverage we got the past month, which I think was really positive. It shows some of our challenges, but the challenges were, these are the changes that we would be facing eventually and concentrating on, and appreciate the work that the staff has gone into and getting us to the point of, I think, in this work session, be able to show how the work isn't getting to what the community needs it to be because of these challenges. And the public being more aware of that. We talk about it at board meetings, we don't have millions watching the board meetings. So I think, having some of that coverage in other places has been helpful, and I really appreciate the work the staff has been put into putting us in that position along with the board. Also, I will say about, I was at the last work session, and, we had a couple of board members that were there too, that they could speak on their views of it if they want. But I felt good and frustrated at the same time, I guess. I think we've had similar work sessions over the past year and a half. That last one I thought was really powerful. The fact that there's so much work that had been done to make a case that was pretty detailed about the barriers that we're still getting from mainly from Corporation Counsel. It was very collegial, and we're all, everybody was, I think, polite with each other. But I'm really glad there's a lot of council members there that could see, including, the newer council member that was there, council members that have been around for a while. Chair of Public Safety was there and really got to ask questions and push and prod us on where we're at with getting what the public needs from us and what the city isn't doing. Corporation Counsel is not allowing us to do. This kind of goes back to the importance of what our charter says, what people voted for. I've said this a lot of different meetings, a lot of different times, and we will continue to work and try to work through things. But the board, Dr. Meyer, you just joined, Lam, you just joined the board. We have some new staff here. We have board, especially, Rabbi Settle and Arlene have been around for, more than a year, since the beginning, and there is a certain amount of time where we might have to take other options besides continue to have conversations. So I think we're doing that. We should continue to do that for a while to try to move on some of these things. But as our outside counsel who agrees with what we're doing, we used to be a corporation counsel, said things are pretty clear and what people voted for in the charter. We as the board, we're doing our panel reviews. If we don't have the information we need because an officer hasn't responded or we're not able to get data, the staff is not able to get data, that prevents us from either being able to review a case which doesn't get to us, because it's not complete, for us maybe having questions that can't be answered. And that's not fair to somebody who's done a complaint. And that's not fair to that officer that either, may or may not have done something, but we are not able to get a full accounting of that. I'm going to go back to our policy team again, the work they're doing. You can't have the person that you're doing or the agency that you're doing oversight over or have dictate what your parameters are. That doesn't make any sense. And of course, we can't look at things that happened 50 years ago, but if the policy team said they want to look at data from the last 10 years for whatever reason, they should just get that. And that's something that the public, I think, expects. And it's just, I'm glad we're working through this. I have patience, but it is, frustrating that we still are having meeting after meeting after meeting with something that seems pretty clear. So I think the majority of the people in that room, the charter dictates. And you know, we're not going to do another year's worth of these kind of things.
Mhm.
So I think there's some urgency in getting to the solution, but, you know, I know the board has, assuming the board has a certain amount of, you know, less patience than a year ago
Mhm.
in regards to that.
Question, how long have these work sessions been in session? How long have these been regularly scheduled?
I can say.
Yeah, you were there before.
Yeah, I mean, so pretty much from the beginning, what they started out as is so what happened is once while the lawsuit about discipline was happening, the police asked for a memorandum of understanding about, sort of saying, well, in the interim, while you don't have discipline or hearing power, let's work out what you sort of can and can't do. And from the beginning, they took what I would call maximalist position about you can't have anything we don't want you to have, you know, and would sort of say, you know, that, so one issue, for instance, was access. The charter very clearly says we should have access to databases.
Mhm.
And it's actually something every sworn officer has access to. And yet it was a problem for them that 3 or 4 of our, you know, trained staff members would have access to that. And I think, so we've been having these discussions for years, literally years, right? And I think that basically, you know, there are a couple of things. It seems to me that the public is very clear that, you know, the best disinfectant is sunshine. Like, in other words, there should be transparency. And the fact that the police department is so resistant to that, to me, only makes them look more like they have something to hide, right? I mean, it's not a good look for them to be so concerned about the public not having access to what we actually legally have access to, including police records, which the state has made decisions about and so forth, that aren't even our, you know, local decision. And I think it just took some of the members of council a little while to sort of understand what that issue was as well. I mean, they have a lot on their plate. We're not the only thing they think about all day. But I think it's, as we involve them in these work sessions, I think that's become much more clear to them. Is that fair to say?
Some examples that I can think of, we sometimes cannot get videos of incidents that happen reported to us. We can't get disciplinary records for officers who are named in the complaints. And we feel that's outrageous. It's supposed to be legally available.
Any?
Oh, I'm just on the charter recap. So the work session, like 3 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour?
An hour,
Hour?
maybe
Okay.
an hour and a half. By the time it's scheduled for an hour.
How frequent are they?
Once a month. Yeah, they should be on our calendar. It would be on your calendar. By,
And they're committed to the once a month because you know, Miguel and I were talking about the fact that it's important for this to happen because there's just still pressure points and we're not on the same page with certain things. So he's committed to that, which I appreciate.
So you all call it what we do on Thursday with the city council members, that's a work session?
it's their
Yes.
meeting, it's their public meeting actually. They have.
But it's called a work session.
Yes, with the.
Oh, okay, so I think work session means that I'm doing learning, okay, never mind.
So I do want to make clear, the work sessions we have monthly, the small group work session is a subcomponent of that to get together to try and hammer some things out to bring back to the
Okay.
big city
All right,
council
okay,
work session.
okay, thank you.
And the big board too.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's a bit smaller. Yeah, I guess the last thing I'll say on the work session is, what got passed was pretty expansive. Not every municipality in the state has what we have, that have other kind of review boards, same nationwide. The city's view, you know, without, not a lawyer, so won't go into a lot of detail differences, but they've taken a position, like what Rabbi said, it's a maximalist. They've taken a position that is very conservative, legally in regards to what the charter says and what we should have access to and their understanding of it. And it seems pretty clear, especially to our staff here and our outside legal counsel, that, you know, that's a position that nowhere else, no standing court in the state has affirmed. There's actually standards lawsuits going on right now in the city, the party to in regards to issues, tangent to what we're talking about, that they've lost, and they're appealing it, but it's not like we have a legal position that's on the barriers of regular legal opinion. What we're saying is pretty clear, and I think it's pretty clear by case law. Maybe a decision made later in the year that may help clarify that for the city corporation council, but in the meantime, we have work that isn't getting done because we're getting held up, and we shouldn't be waiting. There's no reason for the members of the community who've asked for this work to happen to continue to wait for more affirmations and more judges of the work that we're doing. We should have happened. Arlene and then Arian.
Also, at one point, there were a few things that the police department was allowing us to have access to, and then they decided to cut it off. So our thing is, it was okay before, why are we going backwards with the issue? Personally, my hiccup with city council is, you say you want PAB, and yet it appears as though there had been themselves throwing up stumbling blocks, roadblocks that should not have taken council as long as it did to get you boarded, or some of the rest of us. So either you is or you ain't. But these work sessions are showing us that there are council members who really do support the work. And I think the more they understand what it is that we're doing, the progress that we're making, and the difference that it's going to make in the community, more will be on board and they will be more forceful and are getting the things that we need so that the looks better. We want safety for everybody in the city. And so this is the thing that's helping to move that forward.
Mary and then Rabbi Sterling, I'd like to
City
vote no.
council members will depend on votes from police and police supporters. So, at the end, they have to back on noise, but it's like I think maybe we could all get teachers to say, still not satisfied.
I'll get what?
Still not satisfied.
I'll get what?
Satisfied.
Oh, t-shirts. I just want to say too, what a difference it's made that we now have legal representation in the way that we do. So I want to thank Ben Whitwer, who's our general counsel,
Yes.
and also T. Andrew Brown, who was with us at that session. And I think, because again, I don't think the public is aware of this, but the Patrick Beef, the city council, in theory says that he is able to represent us as well as the police, when in fact, I think we're all very aware that there's a conflict of interest there. And so, and I think that that was confusing, to be honest, to some of the council members who aren't themselves attorneys. And the fact that we now have that strong legal voice has been enormously helpful too. So I want to thank our team for that.
Yes, when T. Andrew Brown sits up and speaks, he's our EF, everybody listens, because not only does he, when he presents it in a specific way that it's understandable for everyone, and he gives you the, where it's found. Line, chapter, and verse. When you go back and you read thus, and thus, it says X, Y, and Z. So he's not just blowing smoke. He's very specific about his rebuttals to things that corporate counsel seems to be misinterpreted.
And what I appreciate is Ben's the compliment to that, because he's the pit bull who is passionate, right, and knowledgeable about this, and you can feel the heart and the passion behind that. So we need that compliment.
And I just want to say that there's a handout for tonight's meeting, so I assume that will be part of the minutes on the website that also details, which Ben put an enormous amount of work into, detailing what the remaining issues are in terms of access. So thank you so much.
Wanted you to make sure everyone had that.
Yeah.
This was emailed out too, and we had it at the work session. All right, anything else from chairs, questions for me for chair's report? All right, again, thank you everybody for the work. On committee reports, training committee, we early with the training. I know there's changing of the title of the new training director position, or were we getting that posted in?
No, it's still training and operations.
Okay.
I think where we landed, it's still posted and we're just waiting for folks to apply. Is it posted on? I thought it was. I thought so. But it's in motion,
Okay,
absolutely.
No.
Position is definitely needed.
especially as we go through, approving and making suggestions, changes to the operating procedures for the board.
Mhm.
I want to make sure that, have a lot more support, since we're volunteers here on the board, to
Mhm.
have somebody that's helping us with the training along with the staff. We're doing their trainings.
And some of us, I don't know how many of us are starting next month, will be going to the Police Citizens Academy as well.
Yeah,
I'll be there.
great.
Is that the thing on Wednesday?
Mhm.
Anything for old business? Anything for new business? I'd like to make a motion to go to executive session for a potential signing of a vote on potentially new subpoenas. So there may or may not be a vote, but there is. Stay tuned for after we come back to executive.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Good turn right now for executive session. We are back from executive session. Thank you for everybody still watching. We took 2 votes in executive session on subpoenas. The first vote was unanimous, 8-0. Issuing a subpoena, and the vote for the second subpoena was 7-1. Which are all the votes taken in executive session. Motion to adjourn the meeting. Move.
Second.
All in favor of adjourning? All right, thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight online and in person.
Right.
Okay, so